Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you're well. All right, this is going to be a little bit of a who's who of Canton slash the Karen Reed incident. So, if you're new, just hearing about this, and you want to find out who's who, it's complicated, it's vast, it's it's something you've never experienced before, I'm pretty sure. But what I'm going to attempt to do is break down the players and who they are, if they're relative to this or not, their role in this, if any, um, and I'm going to try and just describe these people. These people, I shouldn't say that. That's just not right. I'm going to try and describe who these people are. They're all individuals. You know, that's uh that's definitely true. So, what I have in front of me is I have a spreadsheet that is just without a doubt amazing. Sleuthy Goosey made this spreadsheet. Wow, what an absolute stunning job they they did on the spreadsheet. I've seen data before, and this is data. This is like raw data. What's in the spreadsheet is factual. What's in the spreadsheet is accountable. But what's in the spreadsheet are facts. Any person can look at this and look at the facts and then look at what happened and look at the district attorney's reaction to these facts. That is hilarious. To see the district attorney and his enforcement wing, the state police, you know, see them in action at the courthouse when they arrested Aiden. There had to be 50 to 60 police officers. I'd say the entire district attorney's office was there. His Gestapo unit. They were all there. For what, I don't know. If they thought it was going to get into fisticuffs and a big brawl or whatever they thought. It again, yet again, they thought incorrectly. None of Aiden's supporters are violent. None of Karen's supporters are violent. I don't know anyone that's violent. That's just not who these people are. These supporters who are behind this movement are not violent people. They're actually very gracious, kind, considerate, loving people. The people that support Karen Reed, I would absolutely invite to my kitchen table or Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas Day or Christmas dinner. Absolutely. Because every one of the supporters that I've spoken to are so interesting. They have depth in their life, and they're just flat out amazingly awesome people. Whereas if you look at the other side, the people who are against, for whatever reason, the people that are against these facts coming out, they're the opposite. They're evil, cold, calculated, nasty, just my God, the things people are willing to do to play the high school game, it's pretty sad. Pretty sad. So, with that said, Let's try and do this. So, there was an accident where John O'Keefe, Boston police officer, went to out drinking, went to a bar. Okay, make it easy. Went to a bar, ended up dead. How's that be? How's that come about? Well, we've explained it in a couple other videos of what we think happened. Obviously, we weren't there. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you 100% definitively what happened. I wasn't there. So the people that were there, okay, when we talk about these people, that side gets very upset. Very upset. You should hear some of the stuff that's said. It's sad. It's sad. Now, the people that are involved, I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that Lucy Goosey made. The relationship has the people that have a relationship to this case. For the new people here, okay, there are people who were at the address when this happened, and then there are people who, like after this happened, these people then come into the picture. Okay, so we're gonna start with the after party where there were some people, and of course the geofence data that Trooper Proctor applied for. Mr. Brilliant Proctor. This is how smart this guy is. This guy's brilliant. When he applied for the geofence data, he didn't include Apple iPhones because I guess he doesn't know that there's Android and Apple. So I don't think the lead detective knows the difference between the two because he submitted the form and he left out getting Apple product code / geofence data. Brilliant. He's so freaking smart. Oh, and part of that whole give me all the data stuff, all the data that he requested. Yeah. He also requested to be the only person to receive that data in return, hence, to protect the people he's protecting. So, Mr. Proctor, why did you leave John's clothing in your office for such a long period of time? Why did it not get submitted to the lab? Was John's clothing put into a refrigerator inside of your office? Was it put into a freezer inside of your office? No, no. Pretty sure you just kept it in a bag in the corner. Bag of John's clothes over there. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Mr. Proctor, seeing how you be so smart, can you tell me, sir, can you please tell me where all of the vomit is? Because don't forget, John threw up. Where's my puddle of vomit? Where is my 6 solo cups of vomit? Where's that? I know you got me 6 solo cups with 6 droplets of blood. Okay. Where are my 6 cups of vomit? Anybody? Where are they? Where's the vomit? It should be very visible on a white background, guys and girls. Even if it was still snowing, you'd be able to see where the vomit was. It should have been frozen. If he was outside that entire time when he threw up, that should have been a sheet, one sheet of frozen vomit. Where is it? Where is that? If he got hit at that time, where's all the blood that's frozen? Doesn't go away. It'll freeze. It was cold out. Where's all my blood? I don't want my drops. 6 little drops. Where's my blood? Where's the vomit? Where's the blood? Where is it? It was cold out. Those things will freeze. Where did you collect the samples of vomit, sir, ma'am? Oh, well, there was no vomit in the front lawn, so how can that be? How can that be? How can you not have any vomit or blood frozen on the front lawn next to where John was found? Where is it? No, we don't know where it is. Oh, you didn't collect it. Oh, wait. Yeah, it wasn't there. Vomit all down the front of him. It's even in his underwear. Where's the puddle of vomit? Where's my scene? Where's my accident scene with the blood, the vomit, disturbed snow? Where is all that? Yeah. Hmm. I don't know where it is either. But needless to say, there's no vomit, no blood. Just John, pretty much where he was put. Now, back to the players, because we all know what happened. John's body got found at the front of the lawn. So, let's do this. Let me go to share some page, present, share screen, and I want to share this one. Boom. All right, here we are. What I want to show you is this column on the left. These are all the people who are quote unquote involved around the edges, the peripheral of it. These are also people who are inside the house that quote, say John never came in. Wow. You shouldn't lie to detectives. Well, then again, this is Massachusetts, and the detective is Michael Proctor, and his wife is good friends with the victim. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sir. They're not good friends. They're just friends. How'd that come about? How did Jennifer and Mrs. Proctor come to the point of holding hands? How'd that communication start? Who started that communication? Who called who? Like, why is the suspect having dinner at the lead investigator's house? I want any investigator out there to ask me if they've ever had a suspect in their personal home. Don't you think it's a little like odd that a suspect knows your address, Mr. Proctor? Because every case you've worked on, every suspect at this point now should have free access to you and your wife for any investigation that you're involved with. Past practice dictates it. It's happened before in the past. So, Mr. Proctor, if you have anybody that is in your suspect list, don't be surprised they come knocking on your door asking for a cup of coffee, because that's just kind of how you roll. Maybe. And then Mr. Tully, his boss, who likes to lie and tell people they got warrants for certain devices, when in reality they don't. The freak out of here. Yeah, Mr. Tully, I need to thank you for everything you've done. You've just outstanding trooper. Yeah. So let's go through some names. Okay. Adam Lally. His nickname is Lunchbox. He is the prosecution's guy. He's the one that says Karen did it, and he's the one that says to the court, these are the facts. He's the lawyer for the court that's going after Karen. Okay. Next we have is Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson is a freaking legend, rock star, you name it, this guy is it. He is Karen Read's defense lawyer from California. Now, Alan Jackson has a partner, Liza Little. Together, these guys are amazing. Karen has excellent, excellent legal representation from what I've seen so far. These guys are like awesome. Awesome. That's who I would want, honestly. All right. We have Angel Cat. We have nothing, nothing, and nothing in those. Okay. Now we have Auntie Bev, Bev Canone. She is the judge. Okay. Auntie Bev is the judge in Norfolk Superior Court. She was supposed to rotate out of this case. So the judges are all on rotation. Keep it fresh, keep it, keep new eyes on the case all the time, make sure everything's being followed. Because the rules are the rules. I mean, if you broke the law, any judge should be able to say allow this evidence or disallow this evidence based on the Constitution, Bill of Rights, all this good stuff, all these laws. They have to know all of them. That's their job. Now, Beverly Canone is the judge of this case. Beverly Canone also, when it was time to rotate judges out of this case, she decided that she wasn't going to rotate. She decided that she's going to stay with this case and be the judge all the way through. We hope not. And I'll tell you why. Miss Beverly Canone has a beach house. Nothing strange about that. However, we know about this because Sean McCabe threatened to bury Turtle Boy on Aunt Bev's cottage at her property. Now, Sean McCabe knows Auntie Bev, knows where she lives, knows she's got a house down the Cape. He said he's gonna bury Turtle Boy on her property. Miss Beverly Canone, again, the judge, received money from Sarah Levinson, another victim in this case. So, just like Proctor, the judge invites people into her house. Imagine that. The judge invites suspects of this murder case into her beach house for a small nominal fee, of course. However, the judge renting out her beach cottage to Sarah Levinson, pretty sure that's like frowned upon. Unless, of course, you just lie and say, yeah, there's no conflict here. I guess you could get away with it. Because that's what happened. So not only did the lead detective who's investigating a murder have a suspect over his house, we also have a judge who's the judge of this case of a murdered Boston police officer. Yeah, we got a judge for a small nominal fee inviting people over her house. Not bad. Only in Canton. Okay, let's move on to the next person. Brian Albert. Oh, Brian. Brian Albert. Okay, Brian Albert. He was, he retired now. He was featured on Boston's Finest. He's a mixed martial arts specialist. He's trained in defensive tactics, offensive tactics. Um, it's his house. And after this murder happened, he got rid of the dog. He had his cellar refinished the third time in, I think, 4 years or 5 years, the third time. But this time he needed the concrete removed and repoured. I don't understand why, but concrete slab is cut out and then replaced with bad concrete, bud. Is that what we're doing? Plumbing work? Like you chased the plumbing from the toilet, you broke the flooring up and fixed it and then patched it. No? Oh, yeah. I forgot that he sold his house too, where the murder happened. Yeah. For $50,000 less than market value. So he didn't make any money on the house. Matter of fact, he threw a whole bunch of money at refinishing the cellar, and then he sold the house. So that's Brian Albert. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was Brian Albert that even hurt John, or even moved his body, or even orchestrated this. I'm not going to say any of that. So don't worry, Brian. I'm good. Because, of course, you are beyond reproach, right? You're solid. You're an awesome cop. It's funny. I hear a lot of really, really good things, which makes this even more puzzling to me. One of the people who one of the people who I hear really good things about is Brian Higgins, but we'll get to him. All right, Brian Albert, off the list. He's the owner of the house. Had the cellar redone, got rid of the dog, and then got rid of the house. Now we have Brian Albert Jr. Now, it was his party that was, quote, the after party. It was his birthday. He was having people over the house to celebrate his birthday. Typical, normal, perfectly legit birthday. Like that's what birthdays are for. You'd have birthday parties, and he invited his friends over, and they were all in the house. I'll get ready to sing happy birthday to Mr. Brian Jr. till it was rudely interrupted. Now, Brian Albert Jr., I don't see any reports from him. I don't see anything. Leads me to think that, was he even there? Because everybody who was there saw something, and they all saw something different. If I show you a picture and you had 10 people, you're all going to give me a different response as to what that picture is. It's just how it works. So even if they quote unquote saw nothing, the fact that they saw nothing is a fact that needs to be put on paper that they've never done. They've never even attempted to do that with anybody that was in the house at that party. Matter of fact, the people that were in the house at the party, the trooper, the awesomeness, most badass trooper out there, who's just phenomenal, Trooper Proctor, he wrote down everybody's names that were inside the house. all these, well, we'll call, I want to call them minors, but they're not. They're just the younger generation, all the younger kids. He yeah, he misspelled all their names purposely, intentionally. Every time you get pulled over by a cop, they want your license to verify your name and address. They want to make sure your name's correct. Why would you write your name incorrectly? Or why would anybody write your name incorrectly? Especially some of these names. Some of these names are really easy. Doody, Doody. You don't spell that correctly. How can that happen? I'm looking for another name that he misspelled. Right. All right. I'm going back. All right. Let's carry on. We'll go back to that. Now we go back to Brian Higgins. Very, very quiet, it seems. You don't hear that name too often. His nickname is Higgins. That's just what we call him, not Brian Higgins. Just people that talk about him call him Higgins. I don't understand why, but they do. I've heard him, people call him that. Now, Brian Higgins and the owner, we've already went over those two people already. Okay. Brian Higgins works for the ATF. He's a very, 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 very good cop from everything I've been told. He's done his job extremely well. He is the type of guy you want as an ATF agent. That was just what I'm told. I'm going to repeat the good. I'm going to repeat the bad. I didn't say it. It's just repeating what I've heard. Heard nothing but stellar things about Brian Higgins and his job. What's odd is the night of the incident when this happened, he was with them. He was drinking with them. He was partying with these people. But then after this happened, he left and went and punched into work. At 1:30 in the morning, he punched into work. For no reason. I don't think it was scheduled. I don't know any ATF agents that work midnight to 8, but maybe he had paperwork to do. I don't know. I do know he punched in at 1:30 that night. Where were you at 7:30? Where were you at 8:30? Where were you this entire time, Brian? At work? Or did you leave work and go somewhere else? So, back to Higgins. You have Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, as well as, I'm going to skip down on my spreadsheet. I'm going to show you who you have also. You also have Ken Berkowitz. Okay. Ken Berkowitz, Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, and Brian's. All three of these individuals, they all drove to New York to go to a funeral for a fallen New York officer. I guess in Massachusetts, we support them, and Brian and Ken, all three of them went and showed support from, I guess, Massachusetts, or let's see. I guess you could say that Canton was there, the Boston Police Department was there, as well as the ATF. All three people went to that wake funeral in New York, drinking all day long. Long car ride. So Albert, Higgins, and Berkowitz are in. All three are in a car, and they're driving, and they're drinking, and they spend the entire day together. All three of them. Then, when they get home, they go out drinking some more. The chief Berkowitz, I don't know where he went or ended up. However, he he decides upon himself one day to take a stroll by 34 Fairview, and what does he see in the street? I think this is like 4 weeks later. He finds tail light lenses in the street. Okay, this is after how many storms? How many vehicles? How how many times did the plow drive by that location? And you still found taillight pieces on the ground after the fact, after the melt, after you found them. So you have Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, and Chief Berkowitz all together all day. Now I wonder if the chief was called before 1 o'clock in the morning, like around 11:50, maybe. Was the chief called? Did somebody call the chief? Yeah, interesting. So you have those three people, and those are three people out of many that are here. Now we have yet another Brian. This Brian's good though. This is a good Brian. Not that the other Brian's aren't. Other Brian's are good too. They just good in a different way. So you have Brian Lucky Loughran. Now we call him Lucky. Okay, he's the plow driver that drives for the town of Canton. He drove by the house at 2:30, and there was no body. Being in an 18-wheeler slash type of vehicle that's got air brakes, dump truck. I think he was driving a dump truck. They're like, you know, they're measured in tons, not pounds, them vehicles. When he's in that vehicle plowing, he's raised above everything else so he can look down. When Brian drives the plow, he's got to watch out for mailboxes and he's got to keep the plow blade as close to the edge as possible to push the snow. He would have seen John's body, especially with the lighting that they have. There's no way he would have missed John's body. It just no, he wouldn't have because of how high up he is in his view. However, when he came back to make another pass, there was a Ford Edge sitting right next to where the body was found. So he because the car was in the street, he couldn't get by with his plow blade. So he couldn't go any further. So the question now becomes is whose Ford Edge was that? If you see Aiden getting arrested and led into the court in handcuffs, people ask him as he's getting pulled out of the car, people ask him, what do you think, Aiden? And his response is, I hope they find the owner of that Ford Edge. Damn, so do I. So doesn't everybody, for Christ's sakes. Who drives that Ford Edge? And better yet, why haven't the state police found that Ford Edge? They can find out who ran a license plate really quick. Really quick. But you can't use the same database to do a query on Ford Edges in the town of Canton that match that description. Freaking serious? You're the state police guy. Tully, you can't find a Ford Edge? Okay. So, people, as you can tell, Canton Police Department spent more time, energy, resources, and money to arrest a reporter who's reporting on the story. They spent more money, resources arresting him than they have looking for the Ford Edge that was witnessed at the scene. You have a witness. You have a witness. Lucky he's a witness. Great witness to boot. Mr. Kelleher, your cameras that you have on your house, those could be a witness too, Mr. Kelleher. You could be a witness if you witnessed what happened, Mr. Kelleher. But of course, yeah. All right, let's move on. Brian Tully. I just mentioned his name prior. Brian Tully is Michael Proctor's boss. Brian Tully works for the district attorney's office, Mass State Police. So the district attorney's office has like a wing, like an arm, like a just like I don't want to say like, especially with what's going on over in Israel and stuff, and I don't want to accuse them, but I don't know how else to say it. Like the state police is his enforcement arm of the district attorney's office. So when they arrested Aiden, you had the entire district attorney's office, state police people all go to that. I guess they were expecting trouble from who, I don't know. I mean, not from us. I don't understand why they would come in so hot and heavy over over words. Like Aiden didn't do anything. He wasn't a violent offender. He wasn't a flight risk. And yet you're all throwing the book at him and perp walking and stuff. But all right, I digress. I get that right. All right, so we just spoke to Lucky about Lucky. Lucky's great. Lucky is yeah, Lucky's good. Okay, who's next? I'm sorry, that was Brian Tully. My goodness. Lucky and Brian. Ah, too many Brians. All right, we have Caitlin Albert now. My glasses on real quick. Okay. Now, Caitlin Albert, funny. She works for the AG's office, the Attorney General's office. That's who she works for. And she allegedly left 3 whole minutes before John O'Keefe even got there, which is funny because she states that she left 34 Fairview. Let me see if I can get some real. See this. No, won't let me open that link. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and look and see if I can find her interview. But if she said she left 3 minutes before John, well, that means John arrived. So she's admitting that he arrived at the house. That's what she admitted, that she left 3 minutes before John arrived. So the word arrived. He's there, supposedly. All right, moving on. I'm going to bang these two out because they're related. Shock. Really. Charles Duty. Catherine Duty. I'm going to pause this real quick. Rather than an alarm going off, I have to shut off. Pause this. Hold on. I'll be right back, boys and girls. Don't go far. Girls, I am back. Sorry about that. All right. We left off at the duties. Okay. There are 2 of them here, which is why I'm lumping them together. One of them is the administrator of Canton, her father, and she is friends with the Albert's friends. So that's why she was at the party. Okay. She was there for Brian Albert. Supposedly, you know, again, I think her name was one of the names that was incorrectly spelled. All right, next we have Chloe. Chloe is a German Shepherd. That we know is a fact. And what I'm going to say is what I was told. I was told that the canine, Chloe, failed canine school. So the dog was a biter. The dog was trained to bite. It was a canine. Brian Albert, who owned the house, owned this dog that was known to bite people in the past. Documentation has been provided to people to prove that the dog has bitten other people in the past. The dog's a biter. The dog doesn't like people. According to Brian Albert himself, the dog is, quote, not good with strangers. John had never been to that house before. John was a stranger to that dog. So that, oh, by the way, Chloe, missing, rehomed, gone somewhere. It's in Vermont, it's in New Hampshire. Who knows where Chloe is? Chloe probably never going to be seen from again. Sorry, but that's a loose end that they tied up. Now, we have Chris Albert. His nickname, Chicken Palm Charlie. He's Brian Albert's brother, Colin's dad, and Julie Albert's husband. So again, he's in the middle of it. He's bald. He is on the board of selectmen. So if you see the selectmen meetings and the bald guy that's sitting on the right-hand side, that's Chris Albert. He tried to get a restraining order on Turtle Boy and it failed. But when Turtle Boy got arrested, they used that to include it. So how can he get denied 1 week and then get arrested a week later for the same freaking thing? Yeah. All right, moving on. After Chris Albert, we have Colin Albert. Bang, bang. Colin made a video calling out another rival gang, we'll call it. And in the video, he goes, bang, bang. So we call him Bang, bang Albert. All right. Colin, man, this kid should have played hockey. It's been reported that he likes to fight other people. Let's go, bud. Want to fight? Dumb 19-year-old. All right, he's notorious for hating John O'Keefe. That was John's only mortal enemy. You realize that. There's nobody else that I've ever found that's hated John except Colin. I've never found anybody that went to John's house and sat on his back deck and drank beer on his Ring camera while he was on vacation. I don't know anyone else like that. Yeah, I don't know anyone else that would have a party at someone else's house and throw the beer cans in their bushes. That is absolutely rude, disrespectful, and an absolute perfect example of your upbringing, of how you act. So by you like having a party at John's house when he wasn't there, and you invite your friends over, drink a bunch of beer, throw the empties all over his yard, yeah, you're just a piece of shit. Guy goes on vacation and you're gonna ring his doorbell and bother him the entire vacation and mess with him? Why? Because you're what? Tough? Bang, bang. Why you gotta bust his balls like that? Oh, by the way, you fucking asshole piece of shit, Colin. Up there at the fucking courthouse screaming, fuck you, turtle boy. And then he ran away like a little bitch. Like a little fucking bitch. The boy ran away. I went looking for him. The fuck did he go? Sorry for my language. That just gets me a little wound up, and I'm sorry. He's just such a fucking tool bag. Colin is really, he's just, his parents they can wish him to be smart. His parents can wish him to be intelligent. Man, it ain't gonna work. Whatever. Okay. Courtney Proctor. All right, Courtney. You are the sister of the lead investigator of this case. So, Michael Proctor, lead investigator, you are her sister. Oh my God, I'm tired. You are his sister. All right. It says here she tags Colin Albert all over Facebook because, the whole family's proud of Colin and all of his great accomplishments that he's accomplished in his life. He's done some really good work out there, Yeah. Courtney is also like the thread that winds two families together. And it's funny because they don't know each other. So that'd be funny. Okay, next person, Daniel O'Shea. Daniel O'Shea is a judge who was supposed to be the one in rotation for this case. So this case was supposed to be rotated to a different judge. Beverly Canone decided that she was going to take this one and not rotate this out. So Judge Daniel O'Shea, he doesn't get a chance to sit on this case. However, he's still involved. He signed the paperwork that had Aiden arrested. I got a feeling we'll be hearing a lot more about Mr. O'Shea coming down the road. All right, let's go on. Next, David Giannetti, freaking rock star. Absolutely awesome. This is Karen's attorney. He is excellent. Excellent in court. Excellent. Now we have Diana White. That is the egg thrower. That lady who's like fat, who can't put her arms down, like the Willy Wonka girl that does the purple thing in Victoria, I think was her name. And she was purple and she was so fat she couldn't put her arms down by her side. Yeah, that's who Dana White is. That's who Dana White is that big chunky big girl who likes to throw eggs at people with her daughter in the car, a 14-year-old daughter. Her 14-year-old daughter is just as bad as the mother. Good luck, girl. When you come up in school, you are the egg throwing lady. You and your daughter. Next person in line, Elizabeth Little. Elizabeth Little is the attorney for Karen Read. She supports Alan Jackson. She works with Alan Jackson. Very intelligent, very sharp, very passionate about what she talks about and how she talks about it. She's great. She's awesome. But Elizabeth Little is Karen's attorney. Okay, moving on. Elizabeth Proctor. People call her Lizzie or Leslie or Proctor's wife. Those are her nicknames I've heard. She's the wife of the lead investigator. She's inserted herself in this case in any way she could. Miss Proctor has been known to call people's jobs and try and get them fired. That's the lead investigator's wife is calling people, defendants, and trying to get them fired. Same lady who Jen McCabe went to visit at Michael Proctor's house because it's his wife. And how does she know all this information? How much information has Liz Proctor leaked? Let's think about that. I know a couple things myself. How did Elizabeth Proctor know the dispatcher's name and address? How is that possible? Because Yuri Bukaki and Sergeant Tully, both those two gentlemen are the only ones that had access to the data. How does Proctor know? Better yet, how's his wife know? Yeah. Even the state trooper, even the state trooper who's investigating this murder, even his wife has got the inside scoop on all this stuff. So you have a trooper in Massachusetts telling his wife everything, to include suspects, potential suspects, witnesses. She's leaking that information. Good job, Proctor. Killing it, guy. Killing it. Next, Greg Henning. I've seen this guy in action. This guy works with Channel 5. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, he works with Channel 5. It's Brian Albert's attorney. That's his attorney. So by Brian Albert having Channel 5's attorney as his attorney, it almost verifies and guarantees that Channel 5 won't be airing anything negative towards Brian Albert because, of course, he paid. It's about money. He paid to have a lawyer. Yeah. And now Channel 5 doesn't do anything to do with Karen Reed case. So, Heather Rodding Sullivan. I don't know who she is. But the next name I know. Next name is Helena Rafferty. Miss Rafferty is now the current chief of police in Canton, Massachusetts. Miss Rafferty became chief under confusing circumstances. Very confusing circumstances. We don't know how she got chief. I don't know how. Like, I don't know if she took the test and got the highest grade. I don't know if the selectman went out of town. I don't know how this happened, but she's the chief. And, the buck stops with her. You would think. Oh, no, 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 no. She's just giving you change, buddy. No, you give her $1, it don't stop with her. She's giving you 90 cents back. Mrs. Rafferty released. Oh, let's rephrase that. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Rafferty doesn't have a problem. Miss Rafferty doesn't have an issue with her department releasing patient medical information. Yeah, don't have a problem with that because you have done zero to discipline them. What about the deputy chief's cameras? Like you're subordinate, or he's subordinate to you. One of the you're his boss. You're the deputy chief's boss. Don't you think could have asked him to save the footage of the cameras that caught the accident? Maybe like save some of that footage. No, good job, Helena. Killing it out there, man. You're doing great. By the way, you're spending all your time worried about who was at the freaking rally. But you can't even keep your own department in check. Seriously, girl? You're worried about the people that came and drove around the town, spent money in your town, economic impact in a positive way. You're now gonna what, run everybody's plate? Didn't someone just get in trouble for doing that? Oh, that's right. You're allowed. That's right. I'm sorry. But what are you doing now? You're focused on all these people that went to the rolling rally because what? That's gonna help you what? Solve this murder case? Oh, that's right. You've already solved it in your head. You already default believe Karen's guilty when you don't have the evidence and you refuse to look at the evidence and oh, yeah, no, next. All right. Irene Scotti-Bello. She is a state medical examiner. Okay. She came from New York and she was very, very problematic out there. Bad. Big issue with her. She changed a report out in New York after the fact. She's not she's not the person we wanted as a medical examiner. No way. Because the faith that we have in her is nil. I just don't have any. Oh, this next one. Oh, this next one's killing me. This is Jennifer McCabe. Okay. Jen McCabe is Nicole Albert's sister and Brian Albert's sister in law. Okay. Jen McCabe. Let's talk about facts with Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe told John to go to 34 Fairview when they were at the bar. She then called him. And then she texted him. All this data, all this information she's giving him so that he can end up at 34 Fairview. She invited him. She pushed him. She pushed him. She pushed him. Jen McCabe 100% knew Colin was going to be at the birthday party. Jennifer knew Colin and John were mortal enemies. She still invited him over. She knew Colin was going to be there with his buddies. Why? Why, Jen? Why, Jen? Why did you invite John over? But better yet, let's just go back to why Jen McCabe is critical to this whole thing. Jen McCabe is brilliant. Let's just go there first. Jen McCabe took her phone and did a factory reset on her phone. And that is supposedly deletes all your data. But it doesn't. Oh, no. Nope. So she did the factory reset thinking, like she's reset the phone and given it to somebody else. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but all that data is still on the phone. So when you, my dear, handed that phone over to the state police, they take the phone, they plug it in, and the first thing the software does is copy the data. Because when you're working with data, you take the original, you make a copy, and you modify, you play with the copy, you do everything you want with the copy, and you leave the original alone. You only copy the original and you work off the copy. So if anything gets messed up in this, it can just delete it and start again. Paste, do what you got to do. Now, with Jen's phone, when they took her phone and they plugged it in to Celebrate copied everything. Mr. Garino looked at the phone and said, "Yep, there's nothing here." So either Mr. Garino, either A, didn't do his job, he just plugged it in and let it do its thing, or B, intentionally did what he did with the phone, which is troubling, or better yet, if he took that phone and he didn't look for deleted things, well, I guess that just goes right hand in hand with Trooper Proctor's dinner, like dinner table manners and stuff. All right, next. Jill Daniels. Jillian. She yeah, she's just no. She's got a dog with her all the time. John Connolly. Okay, John Connolly, selectman, Canton, Massachusetts. Calls people random fucking citizens. Doesn't like people talking. Old good old boy network type of a thing. That's who he is. He's got to go. Next in line, John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe is the main purpose of this. John O'Keefe was a Boston police officer. People people think he was murdered inside the house and his body was dragged out front. Guy weighs 275 pounds. I mean, you're not dragging unless you are. But then you leave trail in the snow. So you have to actually pick him up. So who's strong enough to pick up 275 pounds? I know someone who's got some big arms. Yeah. Now, needless to say, we're all doing this because A, we love Karen. B, we love John. C, we hate what they're doing to both of these people. They are disrespecting John's memory to a point that's just despicable. It's absolutely despicable. All right, next person is John R. McCourt. I honestly don't know who he is. Um, Julie Albert, obviously. Here's Julie Nagel. Now, Julie Nagel was at the house. Julie Nagel called her brother for a ride. Her brother showed up in a Ford F 250 that was raised. Her brother witnessed Karen Reed in front of the house with her hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel with the interior light on. He witnessed that. He witnessed where Karen was parked. He witnessed Karen not moving at all. Julie, after calling her brother for a ride, bang, something happens. Julie's brother shows up and she comes out and says to him, "Nope, nope, nope, don't want to ride, don't want to ride, don't want to ride. I'm staying here, I'm staying here. Go away. Sorry I called you." But then mysteriously, magically, at half hour later, Jen McCabe drives her home. Yeah. Next person down the list, Carl Dougal. Carl works for the Boston Police Department. Carl and John were friends. Carl is convinced that Karen did it. That's and Carl's a detective in the Boston Police Department. My God. Carl was upset that Karen didn't call him after John's murder. he was very upset with Karen. I don't I don't get how him and Chinny can be mad at Karen. Karen just lost someone she loved. Like really, like Karen feels lost on a bunch of different levels, I'm sure. And you, what? You're mad because she didn't reach out to you? Okay, dude. But she let you keep your car in her garage for free, right, Carl? Your car was in her garage for free. That's what I thought. So, next, Karen Reed. Miss Karen Reed is being charged with murder, which is crazy. I mean, vehicular homicide. Hello. Murder? Okay. Well, Karen is not a murderer. How they say Karen did it, I can't recreate. Nobody can. I don't think it's physically possible. Yep. All right. Next name on the list, Katie Hyde. Katie Hyde is the phone extraction expert that the state uses. I know the defense uses Richard Green, and Richard Green is exceptional when it comes to getting cell phone data. Next one is Kate McLaughlin, who I don't know who that is, but she's on my list here. There's Ken Berkowitz again, the chief who was on medical leave when this happened. He was on medical leave. The chief was, and then while he was on medical leave, I guess he drove by the house and saw the broken taillight fragments on the ground. So he called CERT, and they came back and scooped him up. And this is a while after the accident, and after many plows have come and gone, and maybe it's that microscopic taillight you're talking about. I don't know. Next, Carrie Roberts. Carrie Roberts is just like Jen McCabe. Probably on the darkness of hot scale, just a shade thicker. I'm sorry, a shade lighter. Not as dark as Jennifer's, but still pretty freaking dark. She was over Proctor's house after Jennifer was at Proctor's house. So why is anybody going over Proctor's house? Why? Why? What is so good over there? They got like an awesome pool table. I like to play pool. Why is Carrie Roberts over lead investigator's house? She's on the witness list. She was with Karen driving around at night. So as far as I'm concerned, she's just as complicit. When Jennifer gets the friggin' death penalty, Carrie should too. Evilness. Evil. Next, Kevin Albert. All right. Kevin is a detective for, yes, Canton Police Department. Kevin and John were going back and forth in text messages, in phone calls, and it was reported, and I don't know how true this part is. It was reported that interaction between John and Kevin had to do with drugs that were being dealt in his neighborhood. I don't know, but I do know that they were communicating back and forth. That we do know. I think that we can agree upon. 52 pages of communication back and forth. So Kevin Albert is a detective for Canton Police Department. Kevin Albert. This Colin Albert related. There's Chris Albert, related. Oh, Caitlin Albert, related. Brian Albert, related. Yeah. Next, Kevin Reddington. Kevin Reddington is an attorney that Jen McCabe, I guess, um, retained. He's known as one of the more connected lawyers around. Usually, if you're in deep water, that's who you call this guy here, Kevin Reddington. He brings you to the shallow end. But if Jennifer has Kevin Reddington, then that's pretty freaking serious. That alone tells you all you need to know. All right. Lisa Crucilio. I don't know anything about her. Don't know. Matt McCabe. Matt McCabe. Now, Matt McCabe is Jennifer's husband. Okay. Not a big deal. He, now follow me here. He said he was out the front door watching. He said he was watching out the front door the entire night of everything that happened. He was like looking out the door. He. I'm gonna make sure I get this right. I'm gonna repeat this. He quote saw tire tracks in the road from inside the house that showed a 3-point turn. So he's claiming that he saw the reverse and the turn of a 3-point turn in the snow. He said he saw that. Okay. Well, that's actually good because you can't do a 3-point turn when you're doing like 20 miles an hour. You can't. You have to stop. But what is messed up is whichever way Matt McCabe says he saw her car pointing in order to do the 3-point turn, nothing backs it up. That's the beauty of it all. That's going to come back and bite him. Next person, Megan McCabe Mallon. Don't have anything to say about her. Michael Lank. That's a name you've heard. Michael Lank is the Canton detective. Okay? Michael Lank, he's the Canton detective on this case. Michael Lank also was the lead investigator for the Sandra Birchmore case. That's where 4 cops were all having sex with a minor while she was, I think she was 16 or even 15. They're all having sex with her, and she got pregnant, and she was pregnant when they murdered her. And Sergeant Lank was the one to investigate it and determine that it was suicide on a door that is unsuicidable. Yeah, Mr. Lank, not going to be. I wonder why you haven't retired yet. Just like Mr. Wantless, Mr. Wantless, the guy that took the tail light out and possibly fixed John's car. Wantless, that guy. Should retire like he did. Walk out. I'm not writing a report. I'm not saying nothing about what happened. I'm just going to retire. Peace out. I'm gone. All right, Miss Rafferty, you let your boys do that. All right. Michael Lockman. Here we go. Michael Lockman, I believe, is on the selectmen. I'm not sure. But the next person we do have is Michael Morrissey. I know about this guy. He's a district attorney of the county where this took place. And let me tell you, Michael Morrissey, dude, I don't know what you're doing, but everything you've been doing, Mr. Morrissey, is showing how corrupt you are and how corrupt the system is and how corrupt you're letting this whole shindig go. Jen McCabe Googled. She used Google to find out how long to die in the cold. Michael Morrissey. Somebody Googled how long it would take to die in the cold. And that person you're allowing over your house to hang out. Wow. Okay. Next person in line, Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor is the lead investigator for this case. Michael Proctor. Oh my God, I could an hour on this guy. Michael Proctor is not conflicted, according to the prosecution. That's what they said in court. However, Michael Proctor's lifelong friends with Jen McCabe, who Googled how long to die in the cold. Lifelong friends of Jen McCabe, who made sure John was going to be at 34 Fairview that night. She counted on it. It was her job to get him to that house, and she did it. That was her job. Jennifer got John to the house. John ends up dead. And Michael Proctor invites that lady over into his house to meet his wife. Wow. Okay. And that's Michael Trotter. Okay. Yeah, we don't have much to say about Mr. Trotter. He's he works for the town of Canton, DPW guy. I think he's in charge of it, or he's up there. He's management somehow. But he liar. He lied to Aiden. Aiden asked him some questions, and he tried to lie his way around it. You know, again, he's just somebody trying to carry on the narrative. That's all. Nicholas Garino. He's from the Massachusetts State Police. Nicholas Garino is. He conducted the phone data extractions on all the phones. Now, Trooper Garino said that he wasn't able to find the deleted files. This is after the fact. So Trooper Garino does his job, and he goes and he plugs the phone in, and he gets data on the phone that Jen just did a factory reset on. He didn't see the little tab that says deleted files. He didn't notice that because he's like just kick ass, awesome, smartness, like brilliant smart. We need like Rain Man type of smart, and that's who we got here. He's wicked smart, counting cars, counting toothpicks on the ground. Yeah. I mean this in a good way, Mr. Garino. You're just that freaking smart. But yet, you don't know the difference between an image and a file. Dude, I can't wait. I can't. I just can't. Go back to school, Mr. Garino. Nick, I do believe, likes to call Aiden a bunch of bad words we don't need to repeat. But Nick, I do believe, is the one that removed the floor, the cement floor. He removed the cement floor at 34 Fairview after they found a dead body on the front lawn. Nick is the guy that did this. Nick's the guy that redid the cellar again, including the concrete. Because I don't know if concrete goes bad Oh, what? Yeah. All right, Nicole Albert. Her name's Coco. That's um Brian Albert's wife. Her sister is Jennifer McCabe. Okay. Paul O'Keefe. Mr. O'Keefe says he has 300,000 GoFundMe grifter. That's what my thing says. Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna do this and Paul, Paulie boy. Hey bud. Hey Paul. Hey listen, dude. I heard you took the 300,000 from the GoFundMe and you blew it. That's supposed to be for the kids. Last I thought, I mean, I don't know. It could have all just been going to you because we know that you're like grieving. You're emotionally taken back by this whole thing. Understandable too. 100%. My question is this, Paul. Did you happen to put a claim in against Karen's insurance for wrongful death for $1 million? That's my question, Paul. Did you put a claim in against her car insurance? Did you, bud? Did you? And if Karen gets found not guilty, does that mean you have to pay back that $1 million that you've already spent? I don't know if you spent it or gambled it or burned it or smoked it or what, but I don't think that money was supposed to go to you. See, when John took the kids in, they became his responsibility. You know, when John was the man and he stepped up and took the kids in and gave them a loving, caring, safe environment to be in. You know, John, when he did all that, because the kids were important to him. The money was important to him for the kids. Like, we'll find out though, Paul, won't we? We're going to find out, Paul, whether or not you did put a claim in. And we're going to find out whether or not you blew the million. It's going to be interesting to find out, isn't it? Yeah. So let's do a couple more people here real quick. All right, Paul. Yeah, we're almost done. All right, Richard Green. He's the computer expert that the defense hired. He is the man that knows the cellular workings because he writes or wrote code. So he understands the whole entire process. There are parts of a cell phone that this man has access to that most people just can't even put together. Like it's way over my head, way over my head. And this guy coming into town, giving him the cell phone, this is the guy you want to do it. All right, Ryan Nagel, again, Julie's brother. She called him to pick her up. He showed up at the house to pick her up, and she said, "Go away," and then ended up getting a ride home from Jen, which is weird. Sarah Levinson, she was at the house. Sean Good, I don't know about that one. I know Good is a police officer in Canton. I know that much. Sean McCabe, we spoke about him. Said he's going to bury Turtle Boy's body under Aunt Bev's cottage. Uh, let's see. Steve Scanlon. Don't hear much about him. Supposedly, he's the guy that called Karen's attorneys and said, your client's being framed. John walked in the house, got beaten up by Colin and Brian Albert, and put in the cellar. Um, all the beating took place in the cellar, and then they took his body and ran it around and put it outside. That was what was reported, and then that's what ended up here. So yeah, Tim Albert. There's another Albert. He's the quiet one that just family just kind of lets him be, I guess. Um, and we want to talk about Tristan, do we? Yeah, he's dating Caitlin Albert, so he's involved as much as everybody. You know, he picked up Caitlin from the house, supposedly. Supposedly, maybe we need his phone. Maybe we look at his data. Maybe we need to look and see who Tristan called. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So, those are the people, those are the players. I hope that I'm able to put together the names and it's so much and it's so confusing, some of this stuff. So I hope I was able to just give you a little snippet about each person and what they do and what their relevance in the story. Um, get out of this. All right. So tried to give you the players, what happened, what didn't happen, what should have happened, all that stuff. Um, I'm really shocked at at some of these people. I'm shocked at the chief of Canton. Really shocked about that. Um, I I wish that Proctor, who seems to be really important here, I wish he would like be honest with the public, and I wish he would be straight with the facts. I understand he's an investigator, but you can't be an investigator and use the investigator rules and regulations and say, I'd love to tell you, but I can't. It's protected information. Well, Proctor, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Well, what about your wife? How does your wife know everything? How? It's as if she was there that night. She seems to be speaking for you. I'm sure your wife, in her ultimate wisdom, can see with her own eyes that Karen didn't do this. I've tried to recreate it. Others have tried to recreate it. It doesn't match up with what the prosecution's saying. It just doesn't. I've tried. It doesn't work. So, with that said, I wish everyone a safe. Hope everyone stays healthy. Um, day. I hope everyone has a good day, and that's about that. And don't forget, of everything I've said, the most important fact I could ever say about any of the data is I can sum it all up in one sentence. It's easy. You ready? Free Karen Read.